Now, we all know how frustrating and complicated traveling can be. Everything from booking your accommodations to packing and making sure you don't forget anything, getting to the airport, having to deal with traffic, checking in, getting through security, and then, of course, all the possibilities of delays and even losing your luggage. So I'm sure you can imagine just how hard it is for someone like me to travel, being fully wheelchair dependent as a quadriplegic and also 24/7 ventilator dependent for life support. What's going on? How's everybody doing? How is everybody feeling? My name's Christoph, and I'm a 40-year-old quadriplegic who is living with an extremely rare muscle disease called myofibrillar myopathy that has slowly weakened my muscles over time. In my last episode, I was sharing with you some of the most impactful moments in my last 2 years since the production of my short documentary, It Started with the Heart, a Sugar Beach Digital production, as well as the journey to complete the full feature. When we last left off, I was admitted to the hospital for a life-threatening pulmonary embolism, and on the day of my discharge, I received a surprising phone call from the producer of the short, Jennifer Cascardo, informing me of the exciting news that we had been officially accepted into our first film festival, which was the Tampa Bay Underground Film Festival. Now immediately, after this phone call, I am racking my brain trying to figure out how I'm going to make it down there. One, because the cost was a lot. You know, there was a lot involved, and that was just something I couldn't afford on my own at the time. Two, I had changed so much physically since the last time I had been on a plane, which was about 5 years prior when I was going to Aruba for my brother-in-law's bachelor party. What a time that was. Woo. So I shared the exciting news on my social media platforms, and within days, your generous donations poured in and allowed me the opportunity to go with my mom and my caregiver Emmanuel down to Tampa, Florida for my first film festival acceptance for the documentary short. Now that I knew I was going to be able to afford getting down there, the next thing was getting clearance from my lung doctor. When I met with him, he seemed pretty confident that everything was going to be okay, but I was having so much anxiety about it. I was just worried about the air pressure, my oxygen levels. You know, what if we get up into the air and I start to have a major breathing attack and I'm freaking out and they have to do like an emergency landing just for me? Oh my God, I would be mortified. I would be so, God, oh my God. No, I couldn't do it. So I was really nervous about the whole thing. But again, you know, I trust my doctors, and the fact that he gave me the clearance and said everything would be fine, and it was. The next thing was coordinating my dialysis. So I have dialysis treatments on Monday, Wednesdays, and Friday. The festival was on a Saturday. I cannot miss my treatments. And thankfully, my dialysis center is very accommodating, and so they scheduled me for the early run on Friday morning, which is at about 5:30 a.m. I got home at around 9:30, so I was able to rest before getting up and getting dressed and heading to the airport. And then I had dialysis again on Monday. So we flew out of Tampa Monday morning, and then when we got here, I went straight to dialysis from the airport and got my treatment that afternoon. The next vital thing was coordinating and making sure that I had all my necessary equipment. For example, the airline requires that you have double the battery life than the airtime that you're traveling. So the flight was about 3.5 hours, so they require 7 hours of battery life. And again, thankfully to your generous donations, I was able to rent a spare battery for my ventilator, which I use for life support. I have to travel with a spare ventilator just in case anything happens to the ventilator that I'm currently using. You never know, you know, sometimes you hit the button and the thing just doesn't turn on, and being 3,000 miles away from home, I can't afford that. I also can't afford to leave any of my spare accessories back at home. It's not like leaving a pair of underwear or a bathing suit and then just going to the mall to pick up another one. These are vital things that I need to survive. And so me and Emmanuel, we triple checked everything. Thankfully, he is so good with all that stuff that, you know, he had everything set aside and prepared days in advance. We confidently knew that we were not leaving anything behind. And again, the trip went off without a hitch. These are critical things that we really had to pay attention to. because one mess up could really be a catastrophic disaster. Once all of that was set, it was a matter of booking our hotel room, which I needed to make sure that the rooms were handicap accessible, and then also renting a conversion van. We traveled JetBLUE, and I have to say, the experience was 5-star, especially as somebody who is completely disabled. As soon as we arrived curbside, someone met us and helped us with our luggage. They got us all checked in. They got us through security, which, by the way, it's such an interesting process how they check somebody who is in a wheelchair. Because they don't only have to check me, but they have to check the wheelchair as well for anything that may be suspicious. We got to pre-board the flight. I was actually the first person on the flight. And I gotta be honest with you, this kind of service, I was looking at it more like VIP, not like disability services. I was like, okay, we are going to a film festival. Not to mention, my mom was telling anybody and everybody that her son was attending his first film festival acceptance, and I loved every minute of it. Now, to get me onto the plane, they had to transfer me to a special chair, a transfer chair, because my wheelchair was too wide to go down the aisles. So once they got me into the transfer chair and down the aisle, Emmanuel, as well as a flight attendant, assisted me into my seat. Now, because I do not have the ability to shift my weight, I was also concerned about getting sore after sitting for too long. And so Emmanuel put down a special cushion, and that really helped. Once we were up in the air and the air pressure was regulated and I was still feeling good, all of a sudden my nerves went away and I was able to really focus on the excitement of going to the festival, because I think prior to that I was just so worried and full of anxiety about everything that could go wrong, and now that I was up in the air and I knew that everything was okay with me in terms of my health, I was able to really relax and start to enjoy. We landed at around 11, and again, with the help of all the staff from JetBLUE, getting off the plane and getting our baggage was a breeze. The place that we actually rented the conversion van from was closed, but the owner was kind enough to come back to the airport late that night with the van, and she actually brought her son with her because he wanted to come with her, and I thought that that was really sweet. It was nice to meet them. They were really great people. We then headed to the hotel and got ourselves checked in. I couldn't sleep at all that night. Are you kidding me? I was so excited. It was like the night before Christmas. I had my outfit laid out. I was ready to go. Not only was I going to see myself on the big screen for the first time, which, who sees their life story playing out on the big screen? Pinch me. I'm dreaming. But I was also going to be able to share in this experience with the public for the first time. You know, to see and hear their reactions in real time. And for me, that was incredibly special. So the following morning, Emmanuel and my mom got up early. They had the continental breakfast, and then Emmanuel came back and got me ready. From there, we headed over to AMC Theaters, where we met the editor, Kenny. He filmed the entire festival experience, which that also was another awesome aspect. You know, it made things feel that much more intense and professional. From the second going into the theaters and seeing the film festival posters on the red carpet, that's when it really hit me like, oh my God, this is really happening right now. My short is about to be played at a film festival. It was so awesome to talk with other filmmakers in the lobby, take pictures on the red carpet. You know what was also really cool was being able to see the other shorts and experience other people's creativity and see their stories and how they were told. That was also really beautiful for me. Being in that theater though, for the playing of my short and hearing people react in real time, and just the raw emotion in that room for 23 minutes is something that I'll carry with me forever. At one point, my mom grabbed my hand and I just kind of looked over at her, and we just soaked in just that few seconds together, like, wow, you know, we've been through so much together, and look at us now, look at where we are. At the end of the playing of all the shorts, the director of the festival hosted a Q&A, at which point he shouted out my short, and that was really, really cool. And as if I was not already floating in the clouds, around the corner came my family to surprise me. I saw the faces of my little brother, my niece, my goddaughter, and my cousins. And it was instant waterworks. It was so overwhelming because I didn't expect to see them. They live over 3 hours away, and the fact that they drove all the way out there just to be there for me was so incredibly special and touching. So after that, Kenny, the editor, and my family, we all went out to lunch to kind of commemorate the moment and celebrate, because this was like a really big deal. It really, really was. And so it was nice to celebrate together and reminisce and talk about the festival and just enjoy. Well, first, I want to say thank you guys all for coming. Everybody for coming. This was such a nice surprise, you know, to have my brother, my goddaughter, my cousin here with me. It really, for you guys to come all this way, celebrate me, and my cousin Craig is here with his friend. Beautiful. For me, I think I've wanted so long to just touch people and reach people and make my pain and suffering have meaning. And Kenny, I have to thank you and Jennifer for doing that. You have made my story worldwide, and you have given me purpose and meaning. I'm so grateful for it. It really is a dream come true. The experience was more than I could have ever expected or wanted, and I'm so grateful that you guys came into my life. I really am. So thank you, Kenny.
Thank you.
Appreciate you.
Amen.
The next day, we were still in town, so we decided to take advantage, and in the morning, Kenny came by the hotel to film more interviews with my mom and my little brother that we plan to use in the full feature. After that, we had the rest of the day to enjoy. So my mom and I, along with Emmanuel, headed down to the hotel pool, and we just sat outside for about an hour, and we were literally glowing, just reflecting on the past couple days and how wonderful everything was, and really just seeing such a bright future for us and for our family. After that, my mom and I decided to pay a surprise visit to her brother and my aunt, who lived about an hour away. It had been about 7 years since I last saw them just because of all my restrictions, and they really believed that they would never see me in person again. To say their reaction was priceless when they saw me is a huge understatement.
Oh my God!
Hello!
What a sweet surprise! What a blessing! Oh my God! Oh my God! What a sweet surprise! What a wonderful surprise! Oh my God!
Being accepted and attending this film festival brought so much validation to my mission and purpose. My social media platforms exploded. And so in my next episode, I would like to share with you how my social media platforms became my primary source of not only connecting with you, but to spread my story, mission, and do the work that I'm called for. So make sure that you have your notifications on so that you don't miss all content Christoph. And be sure to check out the short documentary on Vimeo. The link is in my description, or you can simply search It Started With the Heart, a Sugar Beach digital production by DocuMarket. And lastly, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I'll see you on the next episode.